The Dallas Cowboys' history is loaded with legends. From Hall of Famers to All-Pros for a short period, there is no question this franchise has produced some of the best players in the history of the NFL. One position is tight ends. Tight ends are a critical component of any championship team. They have to be able to block well and catch. The cream of the crop in Cowboys history might be easy to pick, but beyond that the rankings are tricky. Still, plenty of names on this list are ones most fans are familiar with. Criteria for selection. Statistics heavily influence these rankings, but success matters just as much. Receiving yards and touchdowns have huge value, but how well their performance helped their team's chances for a title run matter a lot too. Individual accolades such as All-Pro recognition and Pro Bowls will also factor in these rankings. Longevity and standout moments were also taken into consideration. The top 10 tight ends in Dallas Cowboys history. 10. Eric Bjornson. Most fans might not remember this name, but Bjornson was the backup to Jay Novacek during the Cowboys' Super Bowl run in 1995. As a rookie, he rarely saw the field but stepped up when Novacek's career was nearing its end. The 1997 season was Bjornson's best in Dallas. He started in 14 games and had over 400 receiving yards. This season proved to be the official downfall of the Cowboys dynasty as the team finished 6-10. Bjornson would only play 2 more years in Dallas before playing his last in New England. While he never became Novacek's replacement, he did earn a Super Bowl ring, earning him a spot in the rankings. 9. Jake Ferguson. This may be a surprise since his career is still at the beginning. Already, Jake Ferguson is 9th in receiving yards in Cowboys history for tight ends. Ferguson's potential is through the roof after getting the starting job last season. For a 4th-round pick, the Cowboys are already getting great value for him. Ferguson only managed 171 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns as a rookie in 2022, but he had moments that made people believe he could be a starter. When Dalton Schultz left, he became one of Dak Prescott's main targets. Ferguson had over 700 yards and 5 touchdowns last season while being named to his first Pro Bowl. His career is just getting started, but to be in the top 10 statistically already for tight ends in franchise history means a lot when it comes to these rankings. 8. Gene Fugett. Fugett might rank 12th on the team's all-time list in tight end receiving yards, but he was a big part of the offense during the team's run to the Super Bowl in 1975. He was signed as an undrafted free agent and worked his way onto the already talented roster. After only 20 catches his first 3 seasons, Fugett hit his stride. In 1975-76, he had his best season in Dallas. He started in 9 of the team's 14 games and had over 400 yards receiving with 3 touchdowns. While he never earned accolades in Dallas, his success there was the beginning of a solid career. He played for the rival Washington Redskins after that season and earned a Pro Bowl bid in 1977. Despite him finding success at his next stop, Fugett, going from undrafted free agent to starter to a Pro Bowler, helped him clinch a spot on this list. 7. Pettis Norman. If someone asked, who was the Cowboys' first good tight end? The answer would be Pettis Norman. He is 6th on the Cowboys' all-time receiving list for tight ends. Like Fugett, Norman was an undrafted free agent too. He arrived in 1962 when the Cowboys were still building their team after being born just 2 years earlier. His best season came in 1964. He earned the starting job and had 311 receiving yards with 3 touchdowns. Those might not be great numbers, but keep in mind the tight end position had not taken off yet. Norman helped Dallas form and identify on offense as a high-scoring team with talent like Don Meredith at quarterback and Bob Hayes at receiver. He helped Dallas reach the doorstep of the Super Bowl twice against the Packers. While he would leave for San Diego after Dallas, he helped turn the Cowboys franchise into a legitimate contender for the 1970s. 6. Mike Ditka. Yes, that Mike Ditka. Before the man coached arguably the greatest defensive team in NFL history, he played tight end for many years. After spending most of his career playing in Chicago and Philadelphia, Ditka was looking for one more shot to play for a championship. He got it when Tom Landry came knocking. Ditka joined Dallas in 1969 right when the team was on the verge of getting to the Super Bowl. After a 200-yard receiving season his first year, Ditka's role was limited in 1970. The Cowboys lost Super Bowl V to the Colts, prompting a quarterback change to Roger Staubach in 1971. Ditka had his best season in Dallas. He set a franchise record with 30 catches by a tight end and had 380 receiving yards. The highlight of his season came when he caught a touchdown pass in Super Bowl VI. It was his first and only championship as a player. For what Ditka brought in his short stint in Dallas to becoming an assistant under Landry then a Hall of Fame head coach, he certainly earns a spot here. 5. Dalton Schultz. Schultz might be catching balls in Houston for C.J. Stroud right now, but he does not earn that contract if not for his hot start in Dallas. Schultz did not see much of the field his first 2 years but was thrust into the lineup in 2020 when Blake Jarwin was lost for the season. He delivered with over 600 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. His best season came the next year when he fully became the starter. An 808-yard, 8-touchdown season helped the Cowboys' offense get the team back into contention. Schultz had another standout season in 2022, but the Cowboys opted to not bring him back in free agency. He piled up 2,122 yards as a Cowboy, putting him 5th statistically for most receiving yards for tight ends in Cowboys history. Schultz deserves to be recognized for his accomplishments in Dallas, despite the comments he made this offseason. 4. Billy Joe Dupree. Dupree was the first tight end the Cowboys spent a high draft pick on. He was selected in the first round in 1973 as the team was looking for their future starter. They certainly found him in Dupree. After his first 3 seasons, Dupree became one of the best tight ends in the game, helping Dallas reach the Super Bowl 4 times during his career. He was a big part of the 1977 team that won the franchise's second title. While not his best season statistically, Dupree still had over 300 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns, earning a trip to the Pro Bowl. Dupree still remained a critical part of the passing game in the early 1980s before retiring in 1984. For a tight end who has a Super Bowl ring and played 11 years in Dallas with success, Dupree deserves to be in the top 5 of this list. 3. Doug Cosby. On the other side of Dupree during the later part of his career was Doug Cosby. He was drafted in the 3rd round in 1979 to be Dupree's replacement. The Cowboys got this pick right with how much Cosby provided during his career. He ranks 2nd in yards for tight ends in team history. After backing up Dupree for the first few years of his career, Cosby became the starter in 1983 when Dallas was still competing for championships. He earned a Pro Bowl bid that year and put up back-to-back 700-yard receiving seasons in 1984 and 1985. Cosby can be considered the first Cowboys tight end who became a reliable option more than often in the passing game. He helped transcend the position as one that can put up good numbers outside of just wide receivers. Cosby played until 1988 but never earned a championship ring. While that might have been the case, the longevity and stats prove he is the 3rd best in team history. 2. Jason Witten. Jason Witten is a Cowboy everyone loved to root for. The 3rd-round pick out of Tennessee in 2003 spent his first few seasons learning behind Dan Campbell, but quickly became an All-Pro. While the Cowboys still struggled with playoff success in the mid-2000s, Witten was named to the Pro Bowl every year from 2004 to 2010. In 2007 and 2010 he was named All-Pro. By that time Witten had already built a Hall of Fame career and was recognized as one of the best tight ends in all of football. He played 16 years in Dallas, even coming out of retirement in 2019 to play 1 more season. Statistically Witten is number 1 in Cowboys tight ends, but he only won 2 playoff games in his career. While his lack of postseason success is not his fault, it kept him from the top spot on this list. There is no doubt Witten will be enshrined in Canton, but like great ones such as Kellen Winslow he was never able to earn a ring. 1. Jay Novacek. There is no doubt Jay Novacek is the best tight end in Cowboys history. The man has everything: All-Pros, Pro Bowls, and Super Bowl rings, 3 to be exact. After the Cardinals let him go, Novacek found new life in Dallas. He arrived in 1990 when Jimmy Johnson was still arranging talent for his new team. Novacek instantly became a weapon in the passing game alongside Michael Irvin. He earned a trip to the Pro Bowl every year from 1991 to 1995. In 1992, he was named All-Pro as Dallas won the first of 3 Super Bowl trophies they would collect in the 1990s. Troy Aikman has often said Novacek was one of his most reliable targets, and the numbers tell the truth. His last season proved to be his best with over 700 yards and 5 touchdowns, most notably a touchdown in Super Bowl 30. With all the accolades and success Novacek had, it is hard to put anyone else above him on this list.